Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a really hard look at a business model that has, let's be honest, completely taken over the internet. You've probably seen the pitches by now, right? Buy a laundromat, empty the queen boxes, work maybe 2 hours a week, and just watch the money roll in. On the surface, it sounds like an absolute money printing machine. People bring their dirty clothes, pay you up front, do the work themselves, and leave. I mean, what could possibly be simpler? Well, it turns out the truth is a whole lot more complicated and honestly, infinitely more fascinating. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, we'll cover the passive income myth. Second, the true startup costs. Third, we're looking at the monthly utility drain. Fourth, we'll uncover the secret revenue streams. And finally, margins, risks, and reality. Section 1, the passive income myth. So the pitch you see all over social media sounds like this perfect hammock-swinging dream, doesn't it? But here is the reality. When you buy a laundromat, you are absolutely not buying passive income. What you're actually buying is a small, localized utility plant that's just disguised as a retail store. It's literally one of the most machine-heavy, resource-intensive operations in all of brick-and-mortar retail. You're managing heavy-duty commercial washers under immense mechanical load, massive gas dryers, industrial water heaters, finicky payment systems, and incredibly complex plumbing networks. Which really leads us to a crucial question. Why do some operators pull in, say, 150 grand a year in clean profit, while others are just bleeding money every single month, even if their parking lot is totally packed with cars on a Sunday? Well, the answer almost always comes down to maintenance and cash reserves. You see, every single machine in that building degrades over time. It's never a question of if a belt will snap or a pipe will leak. It's entirely a question of whether you have the cash on hand to fix that complex plumbing before your frustrated customers just pack up and walk down the street to your competitor. Section 2, the real startup costs and location math. Let's walk through this frankly brutal math. Total startup costs can range from about $250,000 if you're just picking up an older existing store, all the way past $1.5 million to build a modern 3,500 square foot facility from scratch. Just look at the equipment costs alone. A single 80-pound commercial washer can run you up to 22 grand. That's the price of a decent used car, and it's literally just to wash blankets. Add in the build-out, payment systems, and working capital, you absolutely cannot run this business safely without a minimum of $50,000 in cash reserves just sitting in the bank for emergencies. And then there are the hidden fees. Get a load of this number, $30,000. That is what city impact fees, specifically for the high-water hookups, can easily cost you before you've laid down a single floor tile. You're paying a massive premium just for the privilege of tapping into the city's utility grid at a commercial scale. Because of all that heavy plumbing and high-voltage wiring, your location is absolutely non-negotiable. Once you pour concrete over those trenches, you are stuck. You can't just pivot like an online business. So, your target demographic can't just be people who wear clothes. You specifically need high renter density, lower home washer and dryer ownership, a super high population density within just a 2-mile radius, and a low median household income where buying a $1,000 personal washer just isn't an option. Without these exact demographics locking in your customer base, even the most pristine, beautiful facility is going to fail. Section 3, fixed costs and the monthly utility drain. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is how it vividly destroys the whole illusion of pure profit. A lot of first-time owners calculate $5 a wash and think they're going to be rich. What they fail to account for is what it costs just to exist every month before processing a single load of laundry. Fixed overhead consistently devours roughly 65% of your gross earnings, leaving you with just a 35% operating margin. Let's elaborate on that monthly drain. Utilities are your single largest operating expense. We're talking massive, massive amounts of water and gas. You're essentially running a small indoor water park. If your store takes in $30,000 a month in revenue, expect $6,000 to $9,000 of that to go straight to your utility providers. Add in commercial rent, which can hit 10 grand a month, 5 to 8% set aside just for broken belts and coin jams, plus a few thousand more for cleaning crews, insurance, and software. If you don't maintain incredibly high customer volume, those fixed utility and rent costs will burn through your working capital unbelievably fast. Section 4, secret revenue streams. So the crucial point is that basic self-service washing and drying is just your baseline. Those machines just cover your rent and basic utilities. The real profit, that comes from high-margin secondary streams. Smart owners sign business-to-business contracts with local Airbnb hosts or physical therapy clinics just to keep machines running during those slow Tuesday mornings. They use digital apps to bump up then prices by 10 to 15% on the weekends when demand is highest. And since customers are stuck there for an hour anyway, they capture extra spend with premium coffee and detergent sales. Detergent sales alone carry profit margins above 70%. But the absolute crown jewel is Fluff and Fold. Wash, dry, fold services routinely hit 65 to 75% gross margins. Why? Because you can charge $175 to $250 per pound. You aren't just selling access to a metal box anymore. You are selling convenience and time back to busy professionals. This is exactly how top-tier owners drastically multiply the revenue per square foot of their store.
Section 5. Margins, Risks, and Reality.
And this brilliantly illustrates what a healthy, realistic 3,000 square foot store actually looks like. You might generate an impressive $300,000 in top-line gross revenue, but watch how systematically it gets stripped down. Utilities take $75K, rent takes $60K, labor takes $45K, maintenance and admin take another $30K. That leaves you with roughly $90,000 in net operating profit. Now, don't get me wrong, a 30% net margin is incredibly healthy for a retail business, but it requires diligent, active management to protect it. And you have to protect it fiercely because of one critical vulnerability: downside rigidity. If the city unexpectedly hikes water rates by 20%, or if a utility main breaks in your neighborhood on your busiest Saturday, your operating margin compresses instantly. The infrastructure is totally rigid. You can't just downsize your commercial pipes to save money, and you certainly can't pause your massive lease payments just because business is a little slow this month. Which brings us to our ultimate takeaway. In the laundromat business, you are not really selling clean clothes. You are selling time, convenience, and functional infrastructure. The washing machines, they're just the shiny objects that get people through the front doors. It's the high-margin services, the efficient utility management, and the relentless maintenance that actually converts all that foot traffic into true cash flow. So knowing all this, the massive upfront costs, the rigid utilities, the relentless maintenance, the question isn't whether laundromats make money. The question is, do you have the grit to run a heavy utility plant disguised as a passive income dream? Next time you drop a quarter in a washing machine, ask yourself whose infrastructure you're really paying for. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep